Hello and
hello and welcome to the Comic Glitter podcast, the podcast where we comically
and literally
review comic books. If this is your first time listening to us, thank you very much. We talk about comic books, and this week we're going to talk about
Invincible Battle Beast spin-off tie-in, or however they're classing it. But we're doing Invincible stuff.
Cue the music. So,
like you were saying, because we definitely didn't have to redo the intro after a second attempt, but
Invincible.
We're back in the Invincible world, and some might say, I mean, the figures back this up, one of, if not, not the most, but it's one of the most popular comics being sold in comic book shops right now.
Do you know I know this?
And is it because you went into our local comic book shop?
I did, today.
And what reason did you go in for? Was there like a specific thing that you were looking to purchase, perhaps?
There was.
Perchance?
There was.
Really?
Yeah, I was trying to get a copy of the alternate cover of Nightwing 134.
Oh, okay. And why the alternate cover? Is there something, I don't know off the top of my head, is there something about that cover that piques your interest?
It's great. The artwork's really good. If you don't know what we're talking about, Google Nightwing issue 134 alternate cover. You'll see why I wanted it.
I'm sure we did this exact bit last week, but also don't Google it in public or with your friends and family.
I mean, it's hilarious that I've been on a 3-week mission to get a copy of this comic, which, to be honest with you, I could easily get on the grey market, but it's going for like £35 an issue, and I'm just not into it.
You are certainly going to have to go to some seedy, irreputable places.
It was really funny because...
have you got Nightwing cover?
I went in with my partner and my child, and I asked him for it. And I was like, "Have you got shirtless Nightwing?" And he was like, "No." No, he actually had a look for me, and he was like, "I'll give me a second." And he popped on DC's website or his, and he was like, "Really sorry, mate. I can get you one. I've got surplus copies of 134, the original cover. I can get you the other alternate art, which is this one, but I just can't get you the one that I know you want." And I was like, "This isn't even the weirdest thing you've been asked for today." And he was like, "It's not even the weirdest thing I've been asked for in the last hour, mate. Don't worry." And I was like, "Fair enough."
I'd been in the hour before, so that might explain it.
So
I do actually have to go in and make a weird request that I might tell you about later.
So we're in the Invincible Universe. We're talking about Battle Beast, written by the great Robert Kirkman.
Were you about to say late great?
No.
I thought like there was an L about to roll.
It nearly happened, and I saved it, and then you fucking jumped in.
Once again, Robert Kirkman is still alive.
The great Robert Kirkman. Yes. And then it's drawn by Ryan Ottley?
Yeah, so Ryan Ottley, interestingly, he was the artist for most of Invincible.
Yeah.
But I do think it's worth mentioning that the original artist on Invincible was someone named Corey Walker, right?
But they weren't involved in this, so...
They weren't involved in this, but I do think it's interesting that they did kind of create the look of Invincible.
Yeah.
And this is still that this isn't different from the Invincible style and look. So I feel like it's worth crediting someone who, even though they're not credited on this comic, is like, they did actually kind of conceptualize the style as it originally started, you know?
I think that's reasonable. So what I think you need to do now, Ryan, is get ready a certain piece of flute music.
If that sounds struggled at all, Jamie's attempting to clean his glasses while holding the microphone between his forearm and his chest, much in a way I assume he holds his child.
Pretty much, mate, yeah. Are we ready? Are we ready for it?
So we are about to get into general thoughts. The highly requested playing of the theme off the phone. Also, we're saluting.
Yeah, the fans like it, so we have to keep doing it.
You begrudgingly accept.
So we're going to let you in to the back end a little bit on this one.
Peek behind the curtain, so they say.
Peek behind the curtain. We tried to do this last week, and I read an issue of it, and it made me really angry, which is why we then talked about something else for the first week of...
first week of
Independent April? Indie April,
although it may turn out just to be mostly Image April, and whether Image is classed as an indie or not is a grey area.
Look, right, we've done February. Maybe it's just Image April. Maybe it's
Image April.
You can fuck off.
Image Pro?
No, I've already named it. It's Image April. We're doing Image April, right?
I mean, that's the long version,
because we did. No, you can fuck off.
But the shortened version.
No, you can fuck off.
It's Image Pro.
You could fuck all the way off.
So listeners, write in.
No,
if you think we should refer to it as
for some
Image
reason,
April.
when you get a notion and you want to do something dumb, and you ask them.
Are you calling our dedicated listeners siding with the dumb idea? Is that what you're...
I am, yeah.
Is it not just your bitterness that you lost?
Ryan's like, oh, I want to do something dumb, and then you fucking ask for comment, and Leon Goopy's like, do something dumb!
So write in if you think it should be Image April or the much cooler sounding Image Prol.
Right, it's Image April, and you can choke on a massive bag of dicks.
Please, Image April is my father's name. Call me Image Prol.
Anyway,
you forgot what you were going to say.
I actually managed 7 issues of it this time.
Okay, yeah.
And
I am fascinated to know what you're going to think of it.
I liked it.
Yeah. And this is why I was a bit like, when last week you were like, oh, I'm not sure if I can do this. And I was like, really? Like, oh, okay. But now
overall,
we're giving it the proper go, you know?
Overall, I liked it. I think that there's definitely some wider stuff I want to talk about, and I want to get back into it in a bit more detail. When I say wider stuff, I do mean kind of not specifically about this comic, but I think it really bears talking about.
Yeah.
But overall, it wasn't so bad.
They'll take that. They'll put that on the cover.
I liked it. I give the lukewarmest reviews. You know this. For me to rave about something, it needs to be pretty fucking good.
Yeah, not that bad. Co-host of Comic Lyric Podcast.
Just Jamie. I have a name.
Oh shit, Jamie said that.
Because like if it was up to you, you'd be handing out 5 stars like they were fucking ecstasy pills at a rave, mate.
No,
like,
I think I'm a bit more discerned.
I think conversations with me over many years have made you more discerning. But remember, no, you have tried to give the comic literate seal of approval. You have tried to give the comic literate seal of approval to some hot garbage up and down the years.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
I will remind you of Amazing Spider-Man.
Which I still stand by. Those first 5 issues are interesting writing. It's after that it fell off. I stand by that. Anyway, I would like to give some general thoughts.
Okay.
Specifically directed to if someone has tuned into this episode thinking, oh, I'm a fan of Invincible, I've heard of, or I'm just finding out about this spin-off series.
Yeah.
Is it worth me getting into? What has it got to offer? So coming from someone who is big fan of Invincible, read the comics when I caught up to the ending as the ending was released, so I kind of finished it when the series ended. Big into the animation that's out right now. It's amazing. Highly recommend if you haven't seen that. But what I will say with this is, I went into this just thinking, maybe it's just at best, my hopes are it's just like a fun romp back into the Invincible universe, you know? Might not be amazing, but you know, it's just a kind of like, oh, you remember this? Like a bit of nostalgia for like a great series. I found it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
And the way I would describe it to people, if they're interested at all what this might be, is it's kind of like, for me, Invincible's version of the One Punch Man story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you like that kind of subversion of character tropes and like character progression and that kind of stuff, I think this like I think it delivers those in a way that people might not have expected. And we'll get more into why it is that later on.
It delivers the same rough story. It delivers the same enjoyment as that Morty's Mind Blower where he has the whole enchilada.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't even remember like that reference. I know like the Morty's Mind Blower episode. I don't remember the specific bit that you're referencing.
And so they're in a Mexican restaurant.
Right.
And an alien turns up asking to be killed by a great warrior,
that was it,
Rick.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he ends up getting hit by a car and he goes to hell, and then Rick finishes his enchilada.
Yes, that was it, yeah. That was a good one. Yeah, I know what you mean. I thought more One Punch Man because
I mean,
but there is some deeper stuff. I think this does allude to some deeper stuff, which we will get into when we're talking about the story problem.
So, should we cue a bluesy turnaround and start with the arting?
Bluesy turnaround here. And that was the bluesy turnaround.
This is the first time.
This is the first time, because normally we just fucking charge through the topics and the sections, don't we?
I ham.
Wow.
I ham. I'm
right,
not.
That's the end of the podcast.
I'm still on paternity leave from my day job. I get very good paternity leave. My partner and I have made an executive decision that we are not going to expose our son to screens.
I thought you were going to say ham, but go on.
We're not going to expose our ham.
No, your son to ham.
That either, in fairness. That shit's poison, brother. But So 0 screen time in my house at the moment, which means that any time I would usually like be doing a thing that I would like put a screen in front of myself on, listening to podcasts, and I think we're too rambly. And by we I mean I. By we I mean I. So I'm trying to be a bit more structured.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Starting with the fucking Arctic.
Starting with the Arctic. Although we did ramble about you
can
wanting
cut
to
that
not.
out.
No, I think it's very important.
That can just stay in the Patreon edit.
No, I think that's good stuff. It's one of those. If you wait for the joke, it's there. Like it's good. It's a good payoff once you get it. So, starting with the arting, this is very much the Invincible art style. I do think it's have a bit of a modern update, purely just by the technology now compared to printing before.
So, this comic book prompted me to go back and have a look through two different comics, just to refresh my memory. And I did a dip test of 2 other comics, and I went back through Invincible, start and finish.
Right.
And I noticed a big change between the start of Invincible and the end.
Yeah, definitely.
I think this looks very, very similar to where Invincible got to.
Yeah.
But also I then kind of, because Invincible's like hundreds of issues long.
Yeah, it's loads, yeah.
Longer than The Walking Dead.
Let's check that, because I genuinely don't know.
The Walking Dead went to 193. I know that. So how many did Invincible go to?
144 issues.
Sorry, right, less than. Still, 144 issues is quite long.
It's a lot, yeah.
I mean, Nightwing's done better, but...
I literally have been looking at Nightwing just recently because I found out that a writer I really like, I saw like, his writer's name's Dan Watters, I think is pronounced. He did a Batman comic, which was really cool, like elsewhere ones, and it's like, what's Dan Watters got planned for Nightwing? And I was like, oh shit, he's on Nightwing now? Looked up, it's like, yeah, he is on Nightwing since late 2024. It's like, it's been on there for like a year and a half. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like, if I had known, I would have tried out some.
Yeah, we should probably try some out.
We should probably, yeah.
Anyway, so I think this art style works better. Hot take, very hot take. I think this art style works better on this than it did in Invincible.
It's hard to compare because, like I said, because it's the same general style, but I feel like it has been crisped up. Is that the best way to describe it?
Whoever this artist is really good at drawing aliens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that was a big point of Invincible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. But our protagonist in Invincible is human.
Yes. And the only guy, the main alien we met was Alan the alien, who was very much like look, it's an alien. Like that was the point of why he looked like that.
Whereas all of this is aliens.
Yes.
And they all look great. And I think the protagonist looks fantastic. Like he looks really good.
Yeah. I think the detail, like not just like in his face, but like his mane, like he's got the little braids constantly and stuff. Like it's really good art. Like I think the best part is the splash pages. Yeah, I think they're amazing in this.
The character model reminds me of something, and I can't think of what.
I'm trying to see if I can find a Google images of like when he was originally in it or like before.
Oh, was he in Invincible?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So a bit of background for the character.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, should we wait that for the story?
Well, do you have much else to say about the art?
I was just going to say, I think the contrasting, not even contrasting, it's very bright colors, which is always a breath of fresh air in modern comics because so many of them are dark and gritty and kind of grey.
A bit dour.
So this is just like, I love just like how bright it looks, even in bits where you would think would be quite dark, like where he's on a ship by himself.
Well, they do a really good job of... when it's dark, it's still colourful, but it's desaturated.
Yes.
That's what I think that might be what you're trying to articulate.
Yeah, exactly. Because contrasting is like when there's light and dark and they're far apart.
Well, what they've done is there's sort of 2 ways that you can represent darkness. If you think about when something is like actually dark, like your human monkey eyes in the real world, when it's starting to get dark, colors desaturate, and then when it's dark, everything turns to shades of grey.
Because your eyes have adjusted to the darkness.
Yeah, exactly that. What they've done here is when it's dark, they've not used an absence of colour, but they've desaturated all the colours.
Right.
So it's still incredibly colourful, but they're just using desaturated colours to represent darkness.
Yeah.
And I think that's a much better way of doing it in comic books, but I imagine it also just takes more time. Oh,
yeah, for sure. But I think it pays off here.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, though, when you say it's colourful...
very vibrant. Is that a better word?
Yes and no. I disagree. But when I think of vibrancy, I think of like Silver Age bright colors, like lots of blocks of bright color.
Right.
What's being used, what they're doing really well here is using colors as a trick of the light. And so it's the way that like a beautiful sunset is very colorful, but it's not just big blocks of color. It's color being used to render out the world. Does that make sense? And so it feels very naturalistic.
Yeah, I say if you just Google Invincible Battle Beast, like you will get a lot of like the panels come up because they've been shared around quite a bit. So you'll see what I mean. Like there's a lot of great space look, like big splash panels with a lot of space. There's just like loads of stars, just making it look like a lot more interesting.
Yeah,
and generally this comic just had more splash pages than I thought, like than most comics do.
Yeah,
and you would think they'd get a bit like, all right, come on. But every time there was one, I was like, that looks really good. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't like blown away, but just enough that I was like, this is a good splash panel. And there's been so many of them. Like, that was my kind of reaction. The other thing I was going to say is, I guess this is best to include this in the art because it's kind of layout, but they do. So what I think is the closest thing you can get to a comic book jump scare, where a character, the Battle Beast character, is talking to essentially a head that looks like it's trapped on a wall and dead.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, alien head. Then suddenly the alien head, when you turn the page, the alien head is fully eyes open, teeth bearing, like creepy smile.
And it's a full page.
Exactly. And it's a splash page. And I think the way they laid that out, where turning the page and it's just immediately staring at you as you turn the page, I just thought was good. And there's only one instance of that, but it's really effective. So yeah, I just thought it was worth mentioning because how rarely like you find a jump scare or as close to it.
I mean, the medium doesn't lend itself to it, does it?
Exactly. So it's like great if you can do it. So I think that is the most we can say for art. So do we need to put in the bluesy transition for the story part?
If you want it.
I mean,
you're the editor.
True. Well, me listening to me, if you feel like it, put in a bluesy transition.
If not... Hello.
We don't know if there was one yet or not.
No. The main story.
Yeah. Do you want to give a go telling what the story of this comic series is, and then I'll give a bit of the background, how it fits into Invincible and everything.
So we start the
Battle Beast.
Battle Beast is on a ship which has an AI on it which actively dislikes him.
Yep.
He is consuming something, and there is a half-eaten alien on the floor. It transpires that the Battle Beast is roaming the world looking for a noble death in battle. The universe. The computer hates him because he did something awful to the original occupants of the ship.
The people he's eating, yeah.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
They were the occupants of the ship.
I didn't know if he'd just brought them to his ship to eat them.
He does do that occasionally, but I think in that instance, they are just the rotting corpses of the occupants he had killed.
And then the half-eaten alien, I don't really know how he got there, but he is there. I don't know how the rotten alien got there.
Right.
But he's there.
Yes.
And as in essence, the Battle Beast needs to find somebody who's a worthy opponent so he can die in battle.
Yeah.
The alien tells him that on his home planet, there is something stronger than the last thing he fought, and that he should go there and try and find it in lieu of eating him.
Yeah. That is essentially.
So they head to his home planet and fights ensue.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think what is interesting is this is a character who the main kind of driving plot point, as you say, is can he find someone to best him and beat him and essentially kill him at end results.
Yeah.
He's not just kind of like, all right, you bested me, I'm going to go retire now. Like it's a fight to the death and he wants to die, basically. Yeah. This character, again, is an Invincible.
Yeah.
He's one of the few beings in the Invincible Universe who can go toe-to-toe with a Viltrium, which is their version of basically Kryptonians.
Yeah.
So in earlier, he is just like what seems like a henchman to like a mob boss character.
Right.
And then he beats the shit out of some of the Guardians of the Globe characters. Not the ones that Nolan kills, the replacement team after that. And then he's just like, this planet sucks, I'm out, and just goes in a portal. And you're like, oh, okay, then. He's gone then. And then then later in the Invincible series, he's like, oh yeah, that's Battle Beast. Like, he's one of the strongest in the universe. Like, we're fighting the Viltrumites. We should probably get his help. And they go to him like, hey, we're fighting the Viltrumites. We need your help. And he's like, well, I don't really want to help you. And they're like, Viltrumites are pretty strong. They might, they're pretty tough. And he's like, all right, you got me. You pull my leg. All right, fine. And that's all I kind of remember. That is where we're generally up to in the Invincible animation, is they fought some Viltrumites and whatnot. So the point I'm getting at is we know that this, after the point of where the comics, this character is still alive. So it's interesting that the main driving plot is of this spin-off comic is, will he be able to meet someone who can finally best him in battle and kill him? No, we know he won't.
Well, is this set before or after?
So this is set in between those points. So when he was like a mob boss enforcer, and then I think they retconned it. I think Kirkman literally retconned it during Invincible, where he was like, you remember that cool lion guy? I'm going to make him like an intergalactic, like heavy hitter. It's like, well, why was he working for a mob boss in like New York? It's like, okay, so he went to Earth. I think Kirkman like did this while writing Invincible. So, okay, so he went to Earth. He was like, where's your biggest challenges? And this mob boss was like, I can find them for you. If you just follow me, one will turn up. You know,
right.
Invincible will probably turn up. Like, that's how it kind of happened.
Kirkman, because Kirkman is a fan of these big sweeping stories, these things happen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, there was a point where he wrote a fucking tiger into...
Saga? No, that's Brian K. Vaughan. Walking Dead.
He wrote a tiger, like Isaac had a tiger.
Yes.
And everyone's like, why? And he was like, I just really want to see if they'd put it in the TV show.
Yeah.
Like, he does this shit sometimes, doesn't he? Like, he
yeah,
does
for
it
sure.
for funsies.
And he's a showrunner. He's co-showrunner on the Invincible animated series. So,
yeah, because, man, I didn't watch The Walking Dead, even though I was a huge fan of the comics.
First 2 seasons were really good.
Well, yeah, but all I hear about anything afterwards is Coral is all I know about the late. I watched one episode of a season with some friends, which opened with a town called Malice, which was pretty dope.
Right.
It was like the start of a new season, and like it opened to a town called Malice and some guy making a sandwich with lettuce in it, and I was like, how the fuck have they grown lettuces? And they were like, dude. And I was like, fair enough. My 20s were great. But it fully stands to reason that Kirkman after that would have wanted a bit more creative control over the Invincible TV show. And
yeah, I'd imagine so. And because it was an animation, I think that the makers of it felt it was kind of lower stakes. So they were kind of like, yeah, fuck it. Like, you can be, you know, like, this is a popular comic. Like, we don't have to pay as much for like filming shit. Like,
it's also animation. Like, he's a great fucking writer.
He is, but apparently his latest stuff, I mean, he's written a lot of stuff, and it's only 2 of the things he's written have been very favored, have been very well received, but they have been well received to the point of some of the greatest comics of all time.
Wasn't he working on that fucking Transformers universe?
Yeah, so
reboot?
He took over Transformers from Daniel Warren Johnson, and apparently, I don't know this, but I've just heard this in a couple of places, apparently it fell off quite hard when he took over. And now maybe that's just because old D-Dubs was writing at a high level as we read the first couple of issues of it.
D-Dubs is great.
Exactly. So maybe going from him to him.
But no, because Robert Kirkman was doing the
Void Rivals,
yes. Which wasn't
No,
great.
Exactly. So I think Kirkman is maybe kind of suffering of that success of 2 early great hits. I think Invincible was did we see if his first or one of his first ever comics? It was really early on in his career.
He was still doing The Walking Dead when he did it. He was writing them both concurrently, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So this is definitely something that we could probably talk about this up top. When I was reading this, I was like, the dialogue was good, right? But Kirkman always gives good dialogue. It's the thing that he does best.
Yes.
He gives good dialogue. And I was like, but the story's a little paint by numbers. If I'm being honest with you, the story beats are it's fun, but it's nothing special, right? Kind of, it feels to me a little bit video gamey. You're just bouncing from level to level, fight to fight. And again, that is kind of what you're aiming for here, but I wanted it to be a little bit more. Now, we're seeing a little bit of a relationship start to develop between the alien and the robot, which is kind of fun between Prince Sasek.
I can't remember. So I went through it again earlier today in preparation for, and I saw his name, and I was like, I should really remember his name for later, and I've forgotten it again.
I think
the Prince.
He's Prince Saseki or Sasek,
yeah,
and then he names the robot in issue 7, doesn't he?
Yeah,
so
some Zoblot.
Zoblot. We'll go Zoblot.
Yeah. Prince Charles and Zoblot.
Yeah, Charles and Zoblot.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a relationship develop there, right? Although the prince is more of a Prince Andrew than a Prince Charles from what we see in the flashbacks.
I mean, but those other aliens look the same age, so let's go with a better prince. They were age-appropriate aliens.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, but okay, whatever.
You're not going to argue.
There's no point arguing. This was just a bit of fun.
Okay.
So the relationship developing between Prince Charles and Zoblot is like vaguely interesting. I think watching Battle Beast, kind of spending a bit more time with Battle Beast and noticing that he does form attachments to people and he's not just all fight. There's a little bit of something to him.
Yeah.
Okay, vaguely interesting. But for the most part, the plot just kind of bounces around, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you say paint by numbers, the only thing I would push back on is paint by numbers in a genre of modern kind of storytelling, like fantastical storytelling, where we've got a seemingly indestructible main character. And I think that, again, I referenced One Punch Man, and I mean, what's another one? Like, there's not many I can think of. I'm sure there's more, but I think that in itself this is kind of continuing that genre of character.
But this is my point, and this is the point I was getting to, is that I went back and did a quick test on Invincible, mostly looking at art style, because this was a spin-off.
Yeah.
But also I just wanted to see kind of how the tone differed. And the tone is very similar, right? Tonally speaking, this is very similar to Invincible. And I think he has continued to give great dialogue, and that's what I liked about the Invincible comics I read. Then I went back to The Walking Dead, right?
Right.
And I read the first issue, and I was like, fuck, that's a good first issue.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the best. Spoilers for Walking Dead are about to come in the next 30 seconds.
And then I went to like issue 20-something, and it was the issue where Carol died, right? And I was like, fuck, another banger. And then I went to issue 140, and they were defending the hilltop from Dwight, and I was like, fuck, what a banger. Then I went to issue 165, and Dale was dying, and Andrea had just found out Dale was dying. And I was like, fuck, that's a banger. And then I read issues 192 and 193 that I actually hadn't read yet. I hadn't read the finale.
Yeah, wow.
And I read the finale, and I was like, fuck, what a banger.
I should insert here. Spoilers for Walking Dead are about to come in the next 30 seconds.
And then issue 193, where we see a grown-up Carl.
Yep.
And he's like doing his thing, and they're living in a post-Z world, and like, you know, he gets in trouble for killing one of Herschel's pet zombies. And I'm like, fuck, that, like, I literally picked random issues of that. Something meaningful and impactful happened in every single one of those 193 issues, from what I can tell. I was literally picking random issues, Ryan, and every single one I was like, great fucking issue, great fucking issue, great fucking issue. And I did that after having read about 4 issues of this. And then I sat down to the other sort of 3 issues that I read, and I haven't read all 9 yet. I only read up to issue 7 because that's all I had time for. And I was like, this is good, but it's not on that level.
Yeah, but I think comparing them, while they are by the same writer, if anything, actually, I think comparing them when they, I think, go for very different things, tonally and vibes and everything, like The Walking Dead from the start this is hell, this character is trying to survive, it's all very serious all the time, it has to be in black and white because it's going to be so gory, like, or I don't know if that was the reason, but I think that became like a perception of it as it was coming out, because it was coming out at a time where color comics were like, been around since the 60s. So the fact it was in black and white, it was like, oh, but it's really gory as well. What all this is to say, Walking Dead, I think...
They've coloured it.
Yeah, no, now. But when it first came out, it was all black and white. They're only now releasing it in colour.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
I could have sworn years ago I read colorized editions of Walking Dead.
I'd be shocked if you did, because it's a big thing that's currently releasing. Like, I see it on the new comics list, like Walking Dead. I think it's called the Deluxe Edition.
Are they releasing it issue by... Fuck me. Yeah? Imagine if you'd spent all that money. And it's like, oh shit, I need to get all the color copies as well.
I think for me, like, if I had collected the original black and white, I'd be like, I'm happy with that. Like, some people would not have collected the black and white ones. Like, oh, now it's in color? Like, oh, I'll get it now. But I think the ones who collected in black and white were like, this is the original as it was originally released.
I think what I would probably like to do is pick up some of my absolute favorite issues.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of them might not even be out yet. But so what all this is to say is, imagine like those comics starting, Walking Dead very much starting as this is a dark tone from the start. It's all very serious. It's going to be very gory, and not only gory, but the deaths are going to hit you hard, right? Yeah. Invincible starts off as like, I'm a kid in school and my dad's a superhero. What? I've got my powers. And it wasn't till, I think off the top of my head, issue 10, when the big twist
Well,
happens.
we find out that Dad is a monster.
Exactly. So he had 10 issues, 10 months, if it was released monthly, of like cool superhero story. He's kind of like Superman for like 10 months, and then something important happens. And it still has like a jovial, vibe, and, there's jokes and stuff after that. What I'm saying is, comparing the two, I think you're comparing two things that had very different motives and intentions.
I don't know that I'm necessarily comparing them. I think it's more I'm contrasting.
Oh, yeah, you can point out the differences.
What I'm suggesting is that Robert Kirkman can deliver exquisite story issue to issue, right?
Yeah, of course.
And this isn't that.
But this is also only, I would say, if we are comparing the two, or even if we're just pointing out the differences, and I'm talking just Invincible, the main Invincible, and The Walking Dead. Invincible, I would say, has the better ending. Then I love The Walking Dead ending. I generally think it's one of the best endings in comics. I didn't like that apparently Kirkman set up solicitations for issues after the ending to hide the fact that it was ending. But then you had comic book stores being like, hey, we've got people with pull lists for Walking Dead, the next issue.
Well, and they've paid for it. And
I don't know if money exchanged hands or not. Obviously, it's way worse if they did. I don't know if they did or not. But I think there was an element of comic book stores being like, would have been a good heads up to know that it was ending. I think there was a little bit of backlash for that. But
I think that's the fucking coolest thing.
I mean, if as a reader experiencing it at the time, it was awesome. Oh shit, it's done. That was a great feeling. Because comics rarely ever do that for obvious reasons. What I'm saying is, Invincible, I think, built up a bigger, bombastic, explosive ending with more payoff. It's because when you look at from where it starts, Mark being oh shit, I got my superpowers. And then describing the ending of Invincible, intergalactic war, Earth being taken over, Mark a completely different person by the end, and having a real emotional payoff in the end as well, without to spoil it for anyone who hasn't got to the ending of Invincible yet. So what I'm saying is, for being only at issue 7, I think this is, and I'm not saying it's going to be Invincible. All I'm saying is I think this is trying to be something else.
You're suggesting we need to let Robert Kirkman cook. We need to let Kirkman cook, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. You're saying let him cook, right?
Let him be Cookman. Let him cook, man. Let him cook, man.
Are you just impressed that I correctly used some Gen Z slang?
Yeah, and I've improved on it. Let's call him Cook. Was this a Kirkman or a Cookman? Did he Cookman with it? Anyway, the point I'm saying is I'm not saying this is going to be Invincible, right? I still think Invincible is by issue 7 is better than this was. What I'm saying is I got a lot out of it. I think I made some observations that were things that I enjoyed about it, which could become bigger things as the issues go on.
I think you make a valid point, and I think that is something I've overlooked. The idea that actually he had to open The Walking Dead with an absolute bang because he was a new writer and it was black and white.
And he lied to, I guess it was Image at the time, but he lied to them about what the cause of the zombie virus, or what the reveal of the zombie virus in The Walking Dead was going to be. He said It was going to be aliens. Because he was when he was pitching it, he was this is ultimately about the father-son relationship and survival, and man is the real monster kind of thing. And they were yeah, we've had quite a bit of that. I mean, that's bloody George A. Romero's, Night of the Living Dead, those kind of themes.
Yeah.
And he was okay, but in issue 10, it's going to turn out it was aliens. And it was all right, that sounds cool. And he just never did it. And luckily, I think the sales were strong enough that they were all right, if you're not doing the aliens, it's taken off, it's doing well, we'll keep it going.
Yeah.
But then, and then interestingly, with Invincible, he had the same twist, but he was going to delay it even later. But someone else, no idea who off the top of my head, was you need to bring this twist up. You need to do it way earlier.
Yeah.
Because otherwise people are just going to think it's a Superman ripoff, basically.
And then they'll think it's a Superman ripoff, and by the time you do it, nobody will care. And
yes.
They'll go, oh, we did that.
Or it gets cancelled even beforehand.
Yeah.
But so he listened to that advice and actually moved up the twist because he was going to do it eventually anyway. But with Walking Dead, he was aliens. I guess. Can I get into what the aspects of the character which I found most interesting?
Go for it. Yeah, shoot.
I think this is a really interesting character in the vein of One Punch Man. I would say even this is a more interesting character than One Punch Man. One Punch Man is more comedic in how simple he is as a character. I think there's a lot of stuff that they're doling out these little bits of information and backstory about Battle Beast.
Yeah.
For one thing, we do get his origin. Like, he just tells you straight up the start, right? And he's basically like, I was on a planet. It was a lot of war. We were always fighting. And then I became the best fighter because I always had this rage inside of me.
Yeah.
And that made me, like, because I fought more, I got stronger, and I got stronger than anyone else. And essentially, he helps win the war for whatever side, brings peace to his planet, and he's like, I've still got that rage in me, so I guess I'm gonna leave.
And got that dog in me, boy.
Yeah, literally. And he is going, and I think as we get into later issues, him talking about this constant drive for violence and fighting and stuff, and how, and they could have just been like, he just wants to fight all the time, and that's why he needs to whatever. And he's like, I'm a bit bored of this, so I just want to die. So I just want, like, I want someone to beat me because I can't do anything else about it. But the way he talks about, then, like, you get that little explanation at one point, and then way later on issues, he talks about what it actually feels like to constantly be suppressing this rage and thirst for violence. And I think, and again, how this pans out in later issues, like, I don't know, but it is coming off like, and I don't want to, like, talk about this flippantly, but I think it is kind of parallel to, like, a depression allegory. And I want to say that lightly because this is a fun time superhero comic book, and I don't want to say this is that. But I do think they are dipping into some tones of, what if someone is just like in pain, like an emotional pain all the time? Obviously, they've done it for this thing of, like, he's a lion monster in the galactic universe. But I think there is room there that he's becoming a deeper character and a more interesting character. Yeah. There's also elements of his planet found peace and then he fucked off. I read that. First time I read it, I was like, okay, that's the backstory. Now I'm thinking about it later. I'm like, was there peace? Was he like a product of war that has been discarded in a time of peace? Like, war creating monsters and then being like, we've got peace now, there's no room for you here.
And we see that in fiction and in real life.
Yeah. And so all these aspects, I'm like, are they cooking here? Like, is they gonna build into something Invincible-esque where it starts off very kind of like, this is a cool story and this is gonna be fun time, superhero fights and whatever.
Does it give you some Saga vibes as well? A
little bit, yeah. I mean, Brian K. Vaughan, I think, is most comparable. The only other writer comparable to him is Kirkman. So it's not surprising there's some kind of crossover there.
I think what it reminds me of is kind of the mid to later stage of Saga when Marco was traveling with
Prince. Prince Robo,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of has a buddy cop vibe to a certain degree.
There's so much levity. All the stuff I've said is very sparse, very few and far between, right? Like, I'm grabbing on these parts and, like, making them bigger for this podcast, but it's mostly levity in between as well. And I think that juxtaposition is really interesting as well.
That's very Kirkman, though.
Yeah.
That's very Kirkman.
And but more Invincible than Walking Dead. Like, Walking Dead has very few jokes or, like, bits of levity. Like,
I mean, it has Negan.
Yeah, but he's more like Joker, like, type character. Like, it's funny if you're not, like, one of the people near him who might die.
It's funny, but he's also a sociopath.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, the relationship with his ship is funny. Like, his ship is like, you killed the previous crew, and I was quite fond of them. I would like to kill you or facilitate your death. And Battle Beast just, like, makes two of us. Like, our goals are aligned, and they develop this antagonistic friendship almost.
Yes.
And
I think so.
And the ship still hates him and wants him dead.
Well,
and betrays him. Like,
so the ship gets destroyed, and the AI then ends up in that robot that was bought to preserve the
robot
prince.
body of the prince. Yeah.
The last issue I read was them taking over the body and getting a name and a face. I imagine they remain as a primary cast character, right? There's still a main character after issue 7.
Yeah, like, well, I'm only on issue 8, so yes, that
You're
has
only
continued.
Ahead of me.
Did you get to the point with one of the greatest lines in comics, which was "Gadzooks, my penis is back"?
I did, and it was a weird curly penis with, like, 3 prongs on it.
Yeah, it was an alien dick.
I mean, that was in issue 7, so yes, I did. Yeah.
I was just double checking that you saw.
Double checking.
There was also a great line earlier when he's at the intergalactic, like, black market kind of place, and the guy's chatting up, like, a more human-esque looking, different, like, he's like green or something, but he's like chatting up this like more alien looking alien. And he's like, alien genitalia is actually my specialty.
Yeah,
it's like those little background ones are pretty funny. Yeah, it's funny in points. I think it's got like potential to get into some serious stuff. Not just topics, but like Battle Beast is opening up slowly.
You know, my opening remarks on this one were that Kirkman's flair for dialogue is still very much present.
Yes.
Like, Kirkman has always given good dialogue. He just has. I think he maybe went a bit over the top with it in The Walking Dead, but all of the characters in The Walking Dead have distinct voices. You can show me them written on the page and I can tell you who's who.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Their lexicon, their manner of speaking, they're all very distinct, and that remains the case here. He gives good dialogue. He really does.
Yeah, and I think what helps, like, we talk about this a lot, where it's like, did a writer or artist or whoever be given something to do? Like, we're putting you on this project or this line or whatever, versus a writer or artist, or both potentially in this case, who are like, oh, I've got this idea. You remember Battle Beast? Like, what if we did this? Like, and that it's, you know, it's exciting. It's inspired. Like, it's actually like they're excited to do it.
So is this Kirkman's main project at the moment?
So he is, I mean, he's doing Transformers right now as well. I assume he's still doing Void Rivals. I have no idea what's going on with that. But there's an interesting one coming up. He is doing he's releasing soon a comic line called, I think, The Terminal, I think it's called. But what it's being described as is his Invincible version of X-Men. That's what people are saying it's going to be.
Right, so it's going to be an ensemble superhero cast.
Yes, but with an Invincible twist. Like, maybe it's not all as it seems.
It's kind of wild that he, after doing The Walking Dead, the big two would have pretty much given him any superhero he wanted. He could have gone to Marvel and DC and done...
But he's part of, like, editorial of Image.
I know, and so he's had to create his own superheroes.
Yeah.
And I remember when you pitched Invincible to me, and we talked about Invincible really early on, didn't we?
Yes.
We were still recording in the original recording space.
Yeah, was that the white space or the underground bunker?
The underground bunker.
Yeah.
So I remember we did... What was that other one we did that was set in its own new comic book universe?
That was Rogue Sun, which is like an entire superhero universe that I've always been like, I should try some of that, and I just never get around to it.
And we did Rogue Sun, and it was okay, right?
Yes.
And then you were like, oh, there's this other third-party superhero universe. I promise it's really good. And I was really reticent to do it.
Was it Invincible? You're talking about Invincible now? Yeah.
Then we read Invincible, and I was like, oh, this is really good.
Yes.
And really enjoyable. And it's sort of like he's transcended. Like, he couldn't even go to Marvel at this point, or DC.
I think they'd take him in a heartbeat if he could.
Yeah, no, they would, but I don't think it would be a choice that he could make.
No.
And
I mean, he's now you could argue he's more successful in some regards with the Invincible TV show. Like, obviously not compared to like the MCU cinematics, but like, it's a very popular show that a lot of people are talking about.
He's certainly more successful than any individual comic book writer.
And because Image and everything published through Image is creator owned, he owns Invincible. So not only is he showrunner and sort like he work on the IP for that, his comics are being bought in like record numbers now because people are like, oh shit, this Invincible TV show is good. Can I start in the comics? Where would I start? And people go, Invincible #1.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's easier than if I like Batman. It's like, where do I start with Batman?
There's 140 of them and you read them in order.
Yeah.
No, I think he's infinitely more successful than any individual writer would be. What my point is that with this first Invincible spin-off, he's sort of playing the long game, and he now has an opportunity to start bolting heroes on and fleshing out this universe and essentially creating his own comic book hero universe. Like,
yeah, I mean,
Stan Lee didn't. We think about this, right? But Stan Lee and Jack Kirby didn't start with a fully rounded universe. They started with a bunch of titles from all these different people, and then occasionally they would start crossing them over, and then they built it and built it and built it into this universe.
And those crossovers were, as we've mentioned before, was literally just X-Men isn't doing too well. Throw Spider-Man in there for a week.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas the Invincible Universe was created as a universe, right? Like, he created this really special, long-running piece of work that has all these little moments and different characters that pop up and nuances. And now he gets to spin off from them.
So he did do spin-offs while Invincible was running. Yeah. I think Tech Jacket, off the top of my head, was one of the main ones for it. But there is a difference, obviously, with spinning off back then when only like hardcore comic book nerds were reading it, versus now where it's like, oh, I love the TV show. I've just finished Invincible. Like, maybe the read the spin-offs. maybe they've read the spin-offs as well. Oh shit, Battle Beast. Like, and now it's that kind of hype of like new Invincible.
And this is the thing, isn't it? So I think what he's done here is played the long game.
Yeah.
He's created a really rich, nuanced universe in one comic book, and now he can just spin bits off it wherever the fuck he wants. And the TV show's still going, and it's probably going to keep going after the point where the comic book finished. It's enduringly popular.
I mean, it'll start spinning off. And if you were looking at like, hey, what title should we do next? Got Battle Beast right here.
He's done it.
Yeah.
He's done the thing, and he's done something that he never would have been able to achieve at Marvel or DC.
You know, someone, just to give a good mention, someone who I think maybe inspired him somewhat is a writer called Todd McFarlane.
Yeah, I know Todd McFarlane.
So he had Spawn at Image. I don't know if he took it to Image or if he started it at Image, but basically he owned the rights to it and like published it through Image at one point. What he started doing very intelligently was he started licensing Spawn toys or action figures, and knowing that that's where the real money is for any intellectual property, but also that people would just get like toys, like kids would get toys, not even know who they are, and then later be like, who actually is this? Or like, it's Spawn. Like, that's who I've been playing with for like all this time. And that built up him getting an animated TV show that was well received and a movie that was really fucking awful, but it got a movie made. Like, so I think Todd McFarlane is credited. He was one of the first to do it outside of like Marvel and DC.
And comic books are similar to smoking.
Once you hook 'em young.
Well, you start young, you get into it,
and you look really cool when you're doing it,
and then you keep smoking the same brand that you smoked as a teenager until your untimely death, right? And it's the same with comic books. A lot of the people I speak to who are into comic books are like, "Oh, I love Batman. Why? He was my favorite as a kid."
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And so it's one of those things that actually Kirkman's creating something special here, and I think that all of this is getting to the point where I'm saying, actually, even though it's our job to talk about review comics, I actually think in this instance it's a little reductive to just view this in isolation, and actually this needs to be viewed as part of a wider body of work, doing the thing that everybody fucking wanted to do when the Marvel Cinematic Universe got going. When the Marvel films got going, everyone wanted their everything. You know, I hear it said now, everything needs to be in a fucking universe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
look at Snyder's DC. Like, they wanted one so desperately and so quickly. They were like, second film, Batman v Superman, and it was fucking train wreck.
And now they're rebooting, and you know, it's the Gunniverse, right?
Yep.
Everyone wants a universe that they can keep fucking telling stories in, like Star Wars, like the MCU, because it means that they have this shorthand with their audience, right? Like, you go to a Marvel film and you know you're in for roughly consistent tone.
Yeah, ideally they want people to go for the brand, not the character.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't think that's worked especially well, but it's had some benefits. Like,
I mean, it's been fiscally hugely successful.
Yeah, but
monetarily speaking.
But post Endgame, they also had some bombs. So it's they're almost certainly in the black in terms of like profitability, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows, is what I'm saying.
But Kirkman is bootstrapping that from nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what Kirkman had when he started Invincible was a hit non-superhero comic, him as a writer, and a relationship with Image. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that he was as big a deal at Image as he is now when he started Invincible, right?
No, I think when he started, he was like a fan of Image, and he was like, I get to write for Image like that. And
totally.
Yeah.
What he's done is he created something cool, and now he gets but he's doing it slowly, and he's playing the long game. So he's not jumped straight in and gone, we're going to do a big budget live action film.
Yes.
He's gone, well, let's do something that my current fans are going to love.
Well, you know, interestingly, before, and I don't know about the time, I think this is the case, I might be wrong, I think before the animation was even an idea, they were working on an Invincible live-action film or TV show, I don't know, but there was some live-action version, and I think what has just happened is the animation got proposed. They're like, yeah, we can do an animation as well, and I think it literally got to a point where the animation just got through quicker, and it got to a point where like, all right, the animation's releasing first, but we could still do a live action there's the animated Batman, live action Batman, who cares? And I think now with the success of the animation, how quickly they got it through maybe I don't know what I assume animation must be cheaper than live action when you consider like actors and sets and everything like that.
Massively.
And I think now they're looking at it like, should we bother with live action? Like, this is going pretty well. Like, can we just keep making these?
I think the thing that's so special about Invincible is the scope of it. What you said earlier, it starts as a coming of age story, ends with like an intergalactic war.
Yeah.
And that's really similar to the Marvel Cinematic Universe when you think about it, because it started as a story about Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He was the first, right?
Yeah.
And then it ended with a huge intergalactic war with all of these moving pieces that they've been fucking around with 10 years coming together at the end, right?
Yeah.
And that's very similar to the scope of Invincible. Where I think the Invincible cartoon has, like, where there's benefits of doing an animation over live action in that instance is that the cartoon can be as big and as sprawling as the comic book was, right? It can be just as fucking long because they can just keep making it and they don't have to worry about actors physically aging. Like that, your voice ages a lot slower than the rest of you.
Yes.
You know, they can make it happen.
Replace voice actors and people might not notice. Although there was one character they replaced the voice actor for, and it was noticeable instantly, and people are like, oh, that's worse. So, but there's more chance they can replace a voice actor and no one knows.
It's much easier to replace a voice actor than it is an actor.
One of the characters, a minor character, but they do come back a fair bit, was voiced by Justin Roiland. And they were like, let's get rid of it. Let's get someone else for that character. Understandably.
Hot take here, Justin Roiland isn't that good a voice actor. He has like 3 voices.
Yeah, he can do crazy voices. And this wasn't a crazy voice character, so.
And also, Justin Roiland's humor was all, look at me, I'm Mr. Do you know, that's
a direct quote.
A Justin Roilandism is, look at me, I'm Mr. Vanilla Face, and that's his humor. I don't think he was that good a writer. No, I really don't.
Rick and Morty's success is almost entirely down to Dan Harmon. Like,
which is unfortunate because he's also a motherfucker.
But at least he outed himself.
And we're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. Let's not get into that. But you see, my point is that. Sorry, I went on a tangent, but my point is that I like this. I think this is good.
Yeah.
I think it has good dialogue. I don't think the story is the strongest that Robert Kirkman's ever written, but I think it's unfair on it and what he's trying to achieve to entirely critique it as a standalone piece of media, because what he's doing here is something much grander.
Yeah, but I think we also both share a thing of like, for comic books, and they're harder to review as opposed to like TV or film, but I think we both agree, and this kind of helps with how much we can read for an episode a week, but we're like, if it's not good by 5 issues, like, what are we doing here? Like, and there's a lot of TV shows where people are like, oh, it doesn't get good till season 2.
Yeah.
It's like, and I get there are great shows that are like that. I mean, like US Office, Parks and Recs, like 2 off the top of my head, but also stuff should be good from the start. Like,
dude,
really.
I tried to rewatch Blackadder recently.
I mean, Blackadder replays, like reruns on TV, you never see the first series. It's only second and third. Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the second season's not very good either. It gets good in the 3rd season and really good in the 4th season. So I literally skipped the first 2 seasons and watched the 3rd season, and then Blackadder goes 4th. And I was like, delicious.
If I ever recommend, for the few people who haven't seen it, but like the US Office or Parks and Rec, I'm like, start season 2. Like, you're not missing much, you'll work it out, and it's just better.
And you know, I tried Parks and Rec, and I started with season 1 and stopped bothering.
Yeah, it's not very good. Season 2, it picks up immensely and is a lot better.
And that I suppose that happens with TV because they're finding their feet.
Yeah.
It's good enough that it gets...
Yeah.
It's good enough that it gets renewed for a second season, right? But then season 2, they're like, find their feet, the writers know what they're doing, they've made their mistakes, and they crack on and they make something good. But yeah, I fully agree with you. If something hasn't warmed up after 5 issues, it's probably not going to. I also, however, agree with you that actually we're 9 issues into this. I've read 7, you've read 8.
Yeah.
It's not fully there yet, but we can see that it's going somewhere.
Yeah, and I think of the two of us, like, I think I enjoyed it more. I think that's fair to say. I think I've latched on to aspects of it that really enjoyed and hope they will pay off, and I think they will. Like, there's entire speech bubbles like talking about certain aspects of the character, which I'm like, I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah,
I think they're doing really fun stuff, like when the aliens that are seemingly like the alien animals are seemingly like dangerous, and then Battle Beast just roars at them. and then they lick his face, and he smiles as the only time he smiles that's not like I get to kill someone. And it's like, even Battle Beast like gets licked by an animal in the face, and he can't help but smile. Like little things like that, to me, I'm like, I'm enjoying like big alien fights, which also we should have mentioned the art. All the fights look amazing, like gory and really cool. And Battle Beast has red blood, and a lot of aliens have red blood. Some have green blood, so it's not that thing where it's like alien gore, but it's green blood, so it's not classed as violent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a lot that they're going to build.
Japanese and Korean comics.
Yeah. I still see memes like that where it's like, this looks way worse. I've seen Invincible memes where it's like they turn the blood white. It's like, this looks way worse.
For anyone who doesn't know, in Japanese and Korean comics and animation, they're not allowed to use red blood.
I looked this up because I made a short about what we talked about. And I think I looked up at the time and I couldn't find concrete evidence that is actually a thing or not. I don't know if it's like a meme that started, or if it happened once in isolation, but it snowballed where people are like, oh yeah, they do this all the time. Like I genuinely don't know if it's a real thing. It's funny. It's
what
hilarious.
I was about to say is they sometimes display blood as a white liquid, and so it looks like somebody has killed a bunch of people with no blood and then spaffed all over the scene.
Yes.
Like, it just looks like they're covered in cum, and it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've got one more thing to say about this, which I think you'll find very interesting, considering how much we've just talked about the TV show. They are bringing in a character in towards the later issues of this, Conquest, who is a Viltrumite.
He's a Viltrumite, and he's a big deal in the TV show. He's like the head honcho of the universe.
He's not the head honcho. He is... So Viltrumites...
I did Google this, and it got very confusing very quickly.
So Viltrumites, generally, they are quite stern. They are quite like, we're better than everyone else, so we deserve to rule the universe kind of thing. And everyone should bow down to us and serve us. Like, they're like that. But they're not really like... They're not psychopaths. They're not masochistic or anything. Not by and large. Conquest... is the biggest fucking psychopath. Right. Conquest is literally, imagine if Superman, as a character, if Superman was the kid who liked to pick the wings off flies, except we're the flies. Like, he's very sadistic, he loves a fight, and he loves killing people, and eating their hearts. Like, that's a big thing. It's weird,
because you say that the Viltrumites aren't sadistic, but I've met precisely 3 of them, and 2 of them have been.
Who else would you say is sadistic?
The dad.
I don't think he was. He didn't enjoy hurting people. I think he felt it was necessary.
He seemed very good at it for a man who didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, good at it and enjoying it, two very different things.
I rarely get good at something I don't enjoy.
Well, I mean, Nolan has a whole thing of like growing up and institutionalized by the Viltrumites, and like, you need to do this for your people kind of thing. Right. Like, it's your calling. Conquest is, he loves it, right? And we get like of what is a fun thing. He's become like a favorite character, like from time in Invincible.
Yeah.
Not only because he's just cool, and he's voiced by Jeffrey Dean Negan.
Oh, great!
Yeah.
Oh, so that's cool.
But we get this fun thing in this comic where they're obviously building up to Conquest versus Battle Beast, and I think that's like a pro wrestling, like 2 titans collide. It's like, we know they both survive afterwards because they're later on in Invincible, but the fight's still going to be awesome, and the interaction is going to be cool. And Conquest, they show his living quarters just being an empty square block where he just sleeps in a corner without even a bed or anything.
Yeah, so like a blanket on the floor. So
there's some room for them, like, showing more of these existing characters, but like ones who have become more popular since the comic ended. And it's like, oh, we can like explore more of them now, and they didn't know were popular when Kirkman was writing. Again,
man, Kirkman has created something cool, and he's just expanding on it.
Well, and what I was going to as well, him expanding, he being a showrunner on the Invincible show, he's adding stuff to the TV show that either he never thought of or only thought of post the comic, or he thought of but he couldn't include for whatever reason. So he's including a lot of extra stuff in Invincible.
Being a showrunner on the show gives him an opportunity that most writers don't get, which is to amend their work after the fact.
Well, again, but what's great is he's not changing anything. He's only adding like supplementary stuff. Like
but adding stuff is a change.
Yeah.
He's supplementing his work. He's amending his work.
I think the only reason I specify that difference, I think there's more of a chance fans will kick off if something is changed from how it was in the comics versus if it's just added stuff that's, extra stuff.
But inherent in adding something, you're going to change something else.
Well, this is going to be an example of that. So I'm going to show you one of these little changes. So there's a big fight between Conquest and Invincible. And basically what happens is they fight, Conquest almost kills him and Eve, and then Mark and Eve manage to just at the end beat him.
Conquest is old here.
Yeah, he's an old dude, yeah. So in the comics, they have the fight, it's big, it's bloody, it's like destroys buildings and loads of bystanders, and then, it ends. They added a bit in this, which has made the Conquest character like way more popular. I'm going to show you what that is.
So is Mark as powerful as a Viltrumite, even though he's only half Viltrumite?
He will be, yeah. He is getting more power. So the thing with Viltrumite DNA is once the child hits puberty and the powers start coming in, apparently the Viltrumite DNA like starts to take over. So they become like mostly Viltrumite. And Mark is getting stronger as he gets more Viltrumite and he fights more, and so he will get stronger, yeah. So in the middle of the fight, they included this part in the TV show, which is middle of the fight. I mean, I'll play it for
Dark.
So basically, I've just played for Jamie the "I'm so lonely" speech from the Invincible TV show. And the reason I mention all of this is, one, is cool that he's adding these extra layers to existing characters, but now we're getting Conquest versus Battle Beast, who are two characters who were just very cool and entertaining, but rather one-dimensional, who are now getting these backstories, and not just backstories, but like added dimensions to their character and deeper like wants and needs and desires and pains and stuff. And this is the kind of stuff that I think is so interesting and like makes me hopeful for Battle Beast being like a better title as it goes along,
Well, but it really feeds into what I was saying earlier, that like judge this in isolation is to do it a disservice, because he's building something grander.
Yes, exactly, yeah. But and I think I think they've given out just enough to show like, hey, you remember Battle Beast? He's actually more interesting than you originally thought. Yeah, and I think they have achieved that within the benchmark we set of like the first 5 issues, because he talks about the pain the experiences every day and the little bits of like he's a little nicer to the people around him who he would normally just kill immediately and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's really interesting going forward. Now, we've got 2 other things. One is obviously, one is Comment Corner as usual, and then one is a real fun thing afterwards, which I think you'll appreciate.
Oh.
But 2 Comment Corner, and we have another comment from, I think, getting to the ranks of a superfan, I would say, Lance Ariato on Spotify, who corrected us, which we did ask for whenever we say incorrect stuff about America. But apparently, he says, once again, great episode. Jesse Ventura was governor of Minnesota, which is definitely correct. I think I just assumed that any celebrity politician was from California. So my bad, but thanks for the correction. Also, apparently corrected their last comment that apparently Metropolis is in Delaware, across the Delaware River from Gotham City. I don't know. I think there's been different comics that have said different stuff, like, oh, Gotham and Metropolis are here and here. And it's like, I think it changes. But I don't know if that's like surefire. It's weird that they're across a river from each other,
Yeah.
Like, what other instance are there 2 different major cities across a river from each other,
Well, except for Buddha and Pest.
Yeah. But then you just call it like Gotham Tripolis.
Yeah, Budapest.
Yeah, exactly. Like Image Brawl. And so...
You're not getting that past me, mate. It's not happening.
Don't worry, Lance, we will not take away your nerd card, because as we've established, we all get things wrong all the time. But we do that on purpose in case AI tries to scrape our entire podcast for their building databases.
Yes,
and stuff.
That's why we do it.
That's why we do it. So the one last fun thing is, I thought you'd appreciate this because it relates to a topic that comes up quite a bit on the Comic Lyra podcast. But there was an episode of Daredevil that came out this week. It'll still be the latest episode by the time this episode comes out. And there was a moment, which I thought you'd be interested in, because we talk about Daredevil and other characters like Nightwing and,
Is he fucking?
He's not fucking. Oh. But you'll see why. I mean, you'll hear why I'm showing you this clip. And then you can tell the listeners what happened in the clip that I've shown you, okay? So, do you want to tell the people what was revealed in this bit of information from Daredevil Born Again Season 2?
Murdoch's a foot guy.
He said he's not got a problem with feet.
However, I think there's something more interesting at play here.
Okay.
So we have a revelation that Matt Murdock is not into feet, right?
Yeah.
But it's him and the other character, presumably his colleague.
It's Foggy Nelson, if you remember him from the comics.
Sat in an office together.
Yep.
Drinking beers.
Yeah.
Specifically, they are both drinking Coronas. Now, I'm aware, right, that brand named products do not make it into TV shows like this without excessive amounts of money changing hands.
Oh yeah, every TV show.
Like, Corona would have spent a lot of money for their beer to be the beer they're drinking. Ryan is now verifying this. He's going back.
It's worth checking, isn't it? Yep, definitely a Corona.
That is definitely a Corona, right? Corona will have paid a lot of money
Yep. For
The
them
beer
to
they
be
are
the beer.
drinking. Yeah, if not, the Marvel Cinematic Universe can afford to mock up a label for a beer, right? That is a beer in a clear bottle with what is very clearly a Corona label.
Yes.
Do you think the Corona people knew
Yeah.
that they were having a conversation about Matt Murdock having a foot fetish while he was drinking a Corona? Because I bet they didn't. That's not what they paid for.
If you're going to open the door for potentially revealing your foot fetish to your close personal friend, do it over Corona.
Also, a Corona with no lime in it. What the fuck are you doing?
They won't
Matt
work.
Murdock?
They're not going to cut limes in the law firm kitchen, are they?
Then buy Budweiser. What are you doing? What are you doing drinking Corona with no lime in it?
Because the Corona people just didn't give a shit, apparently.
Because the Corona people...
The Corona people didn't know
no-
what was happening when their
The
product was
Corona-
being shown.
If you work in the marketing department of Corona and you were the people who okayed this, please reach out to me. I want to know if you were aware.
Well, I brought this up just because I thought it was funny because all the memes that have happened since this episode came out. Because there was big stuff happening in the episode.
Yeah,
but there
of
was a
course.
big subsection of like, is Murdoch into feet? Like, is that a thing? And it's also one of those things. If you're in the Marvel universe, like even the MCU universe, you can go around like Hell's Kitchen and be like, is there anyone who can verify Matt Murdock having a foot fetish?
Also, like, Matt Murdock likes a bit of shame with his pleasure, right? He's
Yep.
Catholic.
I mean, whether he likes it or it's just inherent, like maybe that's up
Yeah.
for debate. It's sexy. Like him being shameful of it is definitely sexy, isn't it?
Well, I mean, that really depends on your idea of what sexy, Ryan. It's
Oh,
not.
come on.
Doesn't
A hot guy who's resisting, like, fucking you because he's going to commit his eternal soul to hell, and then he does. That's sexy. Come on.
I mean, I don't know, mate. Like...
Don't act like we haven't discussed this off air and you fully agreed.
I don't remember that conversation.
Yeah.
I plead the fifth. I think you're a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
We'll see how I come off on the edit of this podcast. I told you to fuck off 3 times and called you a weirdo.
Whoa, Jamie, I can't believe you're admitting to liking feet. And I'll get AI to do the rest.
Can I very briefly before we go, because I feel it's warranted at this point. I go to a baby group every week, right?
Where is this going to go?
Well, this is the thing. I said a thing today and quite a few parents turned and looked at me and I was like, fucking just saying. Our kids are all now getting to an age where they're starting to like acknowledge each other's presence because they're becoming more aware.
I remember that. It was an awful time.
And my kid was sat face to face with another kid and they were just kind of like interacting, babbling at each other. It was very cute. But my little lad kept going for this other lad's feet.
Like father, like son.
Like father, like son. And
Do you fear you've witnessed the birth of a fetish?
this is the conversation I'm about to have, right? One of the other mums went, "Oh, look, your kid is into feet." And I turned around to them and I said, "Yeah, well, everyone has a kink. As a parent, you just have to hope that you don't fuck them up so much that their kink is something really weird."
Yeah.
And I went, because if your kid ends up with a praise kink, you know you're fucked up. And this one woman shot me a look, and I was like, I didn't say it out loud, but in the back of my head, I was like, bitch has got a praise kink.
And I'll say this because I know I've seen the statistics. It's like only a certain amount of the super fans make it to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And that's fine. If you're listening to us now, you are one of the few.
If you made it the bit where I told my infant son was interested in feet today, leave a comment.
Well, all I was going to say is, I've always thought of foot fetish is one of those things that, to establish and be clear, I do not have. It's fine if you do.
The lady doth protest too much.
But the reason I make that point is...
You would only feel the need to tell us that you didn't have a foot fetish if you had a massive foot fetish.
The reason I say that, as I'm about to explain, is it's one of the fetishes that I would most defend. It's like, it's just another part of the body.
Yeah.
But you can't defend something like that without it making it seem like you have the thing.
Yes.
So I've never gone out of my way to defend the foot fetish people for fear of being mistaken as one of them.
I wrote an Easter quiz recently, right? And I did an Easter themed film round, and it was obviously a lot of questions about bunnies. And so the question was, which character from Space Jam, despite being Despite being
I remember this
animated-
question because I was like, we spoke about this before,
Yeah,
before you wrote the
being-
quiz.
Well, let me get the bloody question out. Which character from Space Jam, despite being an anthropomorphic rabbit and also being animated, became an unlikely sex symbol? And I did it literally
2 weeks ago?
fucking last night.
Oh,
I did it
okay.
at a different venue last night.
Right.
And I just saw in the corner of my eye this one guy grin and lean back and look up at the ceiling, and I was like, he's
having a flashback.
He's into Lola Bunny, and he's like, he's like, he's taken a private moment.
You've
to enjoy
awakened a
himself.
dormant memory that he didn't even know was there.
When I was researching that question, it turns out that a lot of people.
The law research.
I did some,
Vigorous.
I was out of breath by the end of it, Ryan. I was sweaty.
Don't come in. I'm writing a quiz. Leave it outside.
Bring a tissue.
Well, I was going to end on something that I thought would be funny, but I don't think it's as funny as what we've said.
I think you should just end on it.
Well, all I was going to say is, talk about product placement. There was a funny thing that happened in a wrestling program on a TV show where someone, just a few years ago, someone was cutting another person with a pizza cutter. And then it cut to commercial, and the first commercial was Pizza Hut. And Pizza Hut were not happy.
Oh, that's so good.
They were very
isn't it?
angry about it. They probably wouldn't have found out if it wasn't for people clipping it and sharing it online. Like, look how funny this is. And Pizza Hut like, what?
But it is fun. It's so
It's very
fun. It's
funny.
so delightful when that happens.
All right, so we're going to end this on, we talked about foot fetishes, we talked about pizza. Now it's time to end the episode.
Peace.
Thank you. And thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, then please subscribe to get notified of our future episodes as well. And if you're feeling particularly generous, then please leave a 5-star review on whatever podcast app you're using. If you'd like to get in contact with us, then send an email to comicglitter@gmail.com. You can also watch videos by me on the Comic Stand YouTube page, which is linked in the description. Thank you, goodbye.